going on, everybody? Gustav the 13th here, taking a look at a new suit. We got the Rickdom AG Anavel Gato edition. So this is another one of those suits that they dropped out 4 levels of in a row, and they had their own step up for it. This alongside the PZZ level 2 banner, as well as the other 5-step banner for the new suit alongside this, means they're really trying to drain us dry before we get to Christmas, so be careful. Still, at least a baseline, the Anavel Gato, not awful. This does go up to 500. It is a 3-star suit. I was not gonna say like what it actually goes to the end, but it's got 2 priority. It's a general. It's got space compatibility. Weapons wise, it's got a beam bazooka. This beam bazooka is a little bit different though, because it has a charge shot that is a heavy stagger that also has a little bit of splash on it. The heat saber is pretty much the same as usual. It's got the overhead downswing, all that good stuff. Still pretty potent. 2000 baseline, even at 350, not bad. We got a spread beam. We have a rapid shot. I really love that they're doing more rapid shots and sub weapon versions of these main guns, just to have them, give them more variety and stuff. But we also have a guided hand grenade. Pretty handy to have. Kind of neat. That being said, we also don't really have a lot of health. Although at 350, maybe you could appreciate 16k. Still, ballistic, beam, and melee are 10, 19, and 15. Range strength, despite the heavy stagger, or maybe because of the heavy stagger, is only 15, with the melee strength only being a little bit ahead of that at 20. Generally, still supposed to be a little bit of a balanced kind of suit in that regard. Movement speed of 140, but a top speed of 195, not breaching 200. Although, again, baseline 350 suit is just a Rickdom. It's not even a Rickdom team, it's just a Rickdom. Thruster gauge of 60 and a turning speed of 63. For the part slotters, then we have 11, 7, and 6 for close, medium, and long. For skills, pretty normal until we get a little bit lower. So leg shotguns over here. Emergency evasion system 1, anti-blast stabilizer 1, because it is going to be doing melee and stuff, so thank goodness, even though it is a general, they threw us that bone. High speed, high performance balancer, high spec AMBAC 2, force injector 1, melee control, combo controller 1, but it does have offense system. Special leg buffer, only level 1, so 10% for that in on those big old leggies, but it also has thrust-based fire cooling system. So when using ballistic weapons during high-speed movement, your unit recovers from both heat buildup and overheating faster. So they really want you to get in with this, throw that grenade, and just fucking haul ass at stuff. And in the meantime, your other stuff will come up a little bit quicker. Counter boost as well. Your mobile suit attack, defense, and mobility will increase temporarily after doing a counter. Also, less time is needed for range weapons to focus and melee weapons to charge. Definitely trying to keep you active in that regard. Despite this only leaning towards melee by another extra 5 points, got a lot of stuff going on that's encouraging you to still get in there all the same. For the enhancement list, we got +1 to anti-beam modifier, +1 to melee, +1 to melee melee resistance, +1 to melee modifier, and then part expansion only for +1 each for 1440. The unlockables then is +5 to anti-beam and +5 to melee modifier. Now, keeping in mind that we do have other levels of this. This goes up to 500. The 400 version actually already gets composite high mobility combat system, which gives it a little bit more high speed movement as well as turning performance. So high speed movement goes up by 5 and turning performance goes up by 3. And it also gets damage control right out of the gate. And that's at 400, which I'm a little bit surprised they didn't hold off until a little bit higher for that. So level 3, mostly the same. The combat system goes up a little bit more, so +10 for the high speed movement, and turning performance goes up by 6. Special leg buffer at this cost actually goes up to 3, meaning that it decreases that leg damage to 25%, and offense system actually gets bumped up to 2. Force injector goes up to 3, yada yada yada. At this point, still rocking that 195 baseline despite the extra stuff coming in there. Force injector 2 here. Offense system does not go up at 400. Interesting. going up then to level 4 for 500. Still offense system 2, special luck buff for 3. Damage control is damage control 2. And higher mobility combat does not go up to 3, and they just left it at 2, so it's still 10 and 6 for that. Force injector 3, pretty much the same outside of that. Not bad. I'm glad that they at least had the decency to upgrade some of these, going up that much higher. I have a bad feeling. Am I in already? Yes, but let's check this out in practice. Get in there, do what we gotta do. Not a lot to show off, at least in, you know, 1-to-1, but we still want to show it off a little bit. This is the 350 version, by the way. Despite what I think this thing will be able to do at higher cost, there's a couple things you gotta keep in mind. Regular stun on this, as I missed like a dummy. With the burst, you gotta hit twice for that to build up enough. The problem being, as you saw, the interval on that is very tight because it's very slow. The charge time then is also slow. It's easy to forget how long a fistful of seconds can be. But there you go, heavy stagger. Usual overhead for that. Very nice. We got the guided grenades, and they actually come out pretty quick, all things considered. And then you got the old titty flash. Yeah. So pretty intuitive. Not super crazy in terms of the way that the kit works. It's still very, very workable. Anyone who's been using other DOMs at this cost, like the Dodge or the Peasant Dodge and all that shit, are going to be very at home here. It's also very nice to have something that has a heavy stagger on this. I forget what the name of the other one that has this, but it's underslung as opposed to overhead. So it's nice to have a little bit of extra clearance for that without having to really work on it. I think it's like the Dodge Custom or something like that. It's been a hot minute since I've run that suit, as you can tell. But not too bad, not too shabby. Let's try to get a better idea of like just how far out you can shoot. Like that still got him. That's a pretty decent ways away from the leg. It probably just caught the arm first even. I'm trying to... In fact, I wonder. I don't think so. Oh, you can. Now keep that in mind when you're doing stuff in the field. So as you can see, it's coming up pretty fast when you have that. But keep in mind that that splash is pretty significant. And depending on how or if enemy bodies reflect any of that at all, you're definitely going to be hitting your friendlies with that if you're not careful. That's why you should probably lean on the burst a little bit if you're doing that. Or, you know, just give it a second, just do a neutral shot. That way you're only risking stunning one person, and it's only a regular stun. That being said, you do have this to help. Obviously, it's a really slow charge. But if you know that someone's in here, probably got a good amount of coverage with that. These are going to be a little bit harder to finagle in there. But at least on the outside, it's a little doable. If you do it too much, though, like you saw there, it's going to go on the top, and that sucks. But not bad. I would almost suggest to put movement parts on this. Its speed isn't too bad, but at baseline cost, it doesn't really have heavy force injector or anything. So you're gonna be, that initial boost is gonna fuck you up a lot. And force injecting at this cost is gonna be a little bit rough. You're mostly gonna be using it for hops. At higher cost, when it does get a little bit more generous with stuff like that, and especially if you have ox burners or whatever, you can probably lean on that a little bit more and not have to worry about it too much. But not bad. I'm a little bit worried of how this is going to do despite some of the stat and skill buffs at like 500 costs and whatnot, but we'll be trying that out if possible during the week in streams. The match that we have and the matches that we did were at 350 rated, so we're going to show off one of those matches right around here.
All pilots prepare for combat. Mobile suits deploy at once.
Well, considering how finicky the tracking is on the actual guide part, it's probably not going to be that reliable.
Commencing operation.
Move. Dude, that initial boost is rough. Okay, can't be that crazy about it. I always want to put more neutral movement and turn on it then. What is that? Ooh. Oh, but he couldn't take it. Oh.
You can stay in the fight.
Oh, it is just a regular, like, up and over. I can't fucking boost.
Significant damage detected.
No.
Taking too much damage. No! The mobile suit's been destroyed. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Yeah, no real MA. It's surprisingly unremarkable.
Select a location and method for redeployment. Requesting redeployment. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Enemy unit destroyed. Beacon capture confirmed. Damage detected, but you're alright. You can stay. We lost an ally unit. Significant damage detected. Proceed with caution. We've taken too much damage. Mobile suit's on its last legs. Nice damage.
Oh, you ran into it. You ran into it because the hitbox's field was still there.
We lost an ally unit. Requesting redeployment.
My God.
Enemy unit destroyed. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. We lost an ally
Oh my God, please.
Enemy unit destroyed. Supporting fire incoming. Pull back to stay active.
Hey.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. We lost an ally. Long-range supporting fire incoming. Supporting fire complete. No good. Supporting fire was off target. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Beacon captured by the enemy. Bomb planted at enemy base. An ally has destroyed
Thank
an
you.
enemy mobile suit. Looks like we've got the upper hand for the moment.
That's heavy. Interesting.
Significant damage detected. Proceed with caution. We've taken too much damage. Mobile suit's on its last legs. No! Mobile suit's been destroyed. We lost an ally unit.
Whoever.
We lost.
I would assume so.
Our bomb has been defeated.
Again, being in space would mitigate some of its boost usage, and it'd probably get a little bit more speed out of it because of the compatibility. Not to mention the up and over downswing that it has is a lot more at home in space for the approach down to up kind of things for melee.
Especially valuable. A bomb's been planted at our base.
It's a lot better to approach someone for melee from below.
Damage detected, but you're all right. You can stay in the fight.
He's raiding me. It's agent. Stop.
Ally is defusing the bomb. We lost an ally unit.
Thank you very much for the raid. If you got a raid around, take care of yourself. Just be sure to do what you gotta do. Otherwise, welcome in. And messing with the new Ricky D. Oh wow, it's a lot louder than the raid sound.
Enemy unit destroyed. Remaining for the operation. Keep pushing. Significant damage detected. Too much damage. Mobile suit's on its last leg. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Impressive.
There we go.
That move.
This thing has a heavy stagger. But it charges, oh god, really slow. Oh jeez. Oh, no. Uh-oh.
No!
That stun ate my boost.
Been destroyed.
That's no good.
Enemy fire incoming. Retreat! We lost an ally unit.
No, come on.
Requesting redeployment.
Live, damn it.
Mission has ended. That was close, but we pulled it off.
Oh, okay. Barrio. Lord.
Here's your reward for this battle.
So, not super crazy. The heavy stagger is interesting. But that charge time is forever. Goddamn. And that was our match in the AG. So I will say, even though this is a pretty confident suit, you probably don't want a lot of these running around in lieu of the usual stuff at this cost range, especially once you get to 400 when the Gundams start coming into play, because you're not going to have the same amount of priority as them. They're going to still have other options to stun you and get in on you. And especially when we get into higher cost, when they also start to get boosted stuff. This is going to be a bit of a tougher sell. Trying to find ways to speed up that focus, maybe try to give you some extra wiggle room when it comes to maneuverability, are definitely going to be helpful. And like I said, once we get into higher costs, I'll be, doing that on stream too. But at 350, this is not a bad thing to run. This is pretty solid for 350. I do kind of wish that the intervals between firing for some of the stuff on the beam bazooka were a little bit faster. Just because it's a bit hard to just kind of sit there in neutral movement and make sure that you got it trained in hopes of being able to get those stuns. Obviously, if push comes to shove, as long as they're not boosting at you, you can still bust out this. I almost kind of wish that the Flash did have melee priority when it came to its stun. I feel like that should stop things even if they are running at you. When it comes to maneuver armor, blah, blah, blah. But that is the long and short of it for the Rickdom Anavel Gato. Another seemingly competent suit that has a level boosted drop, step up drop. Like I said, we'll be running this through its paces at the other cost when possible. At the very least, if you're looking for something new at 350, this is not a bad choice, but it is not necessary. I would argue that most of the stuff that dropped this week is interesting, but not necessary for its cost range. Especially when we're, again, going closer and closer to holiday. But we'll see, and good luck all the same if you do spin on this stuff. But that will be all for now. This is Goose on the 13th. Talk about another suit. Hopefully, I will see you guys in the next video.